Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is a complete review of the Techno Camon IAs. So this is the phone and I've already posted the unboxing, so check that out for more specifications, initial impressions and overall physical overview. Now Techno might sound like a new brand for you, but they have been in India for a while now. It's a sub-brand managed by Transient Holding, which also owns brands like Infinix, Spice and Itel. Now this particular brand focuses mainly on retail customers with cameras as their USP. Now with that said, let's get on with the review. Now in terms of design and build, this phone is a complete plastic build, and for the first time after a very long time, this phone actually has a removable plastic back panel. So we can just remove it in this way, and underneath it we have the two SIM card slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. I know plastic build might sound pretty cheap, but it's actually a pretty good plastic. It also comes with this nice matte finish which makes it look a bit more premium. Even in terms of overall feel in the hand, it's pretty good and it's not too slippery either. Now even the buttons on this phone are pretty well built. They're made of plastic but they have a nice clicky feel to it. Now even this display is protected by this plastic rim, so even if you drop your phone directly on its side, your display will not crack. Now the display used on this phone is also pretty flat, so it might not look as premium as phones with the 2.5D curved glass, but you can actually use a good tempered glass on it. So if you're really worried about dropping your phone and breaking the display, you can use a good tempered glass and forget about it. Now the next thing that I really like about this phone is the form factor. Because of the full view display, the 18:9 aspect ratio, this phone has a 5.5-inch display, but still it fits comfortably in the hand and it's actually usable single-handedly as well. So that's another thing I really like about the build. Now coming to the cons, weight distribution or the weight balance itself on this phone is kinda bad. Now from initial impressions, like when you just pick up the phone, you feel that this phone is slightly heavy. And I was really shocked to see that this phone just weighs about 150 grams. If the weight balance has been done really well, it would have felt really lightweight and I would have loved it even more. So except for that little con in terms of weight distribution, I really don't have any complaints with the phone. Now coming to the hardware section, it has just the basic sensors like the accelerometer, proximity and ambient sensor. It is missing the compass and gyroscope. Now just like most of the phones in this price segment, even this phone doesn't come with a fingerprint scanner, but comes with face unlock feature. And in good lighting conditions, it just takes like half a second to unlock the phone, and in complete darkness, we can actually use the front-facing flash to unlock it quickly. So I must say it's not super fancy like other phones, but it's quite usable. Now coming to storage, which happens to be one of the downsides for this phone only comes with 16 GB of storage, out of which you just get about 9 GB of free space for your user apps and user data. But as an advantage, this phone comes with a dedicated SD card slot, and this phone also supports adaptive storage. So you can just add in an SD card, use it as internal storage, and even install apps to the SD card. Now usually most of the phones in this price segment, even Redmi 6A, come with a dedicated SD card slot and the same 16 GB of storage, but doesn't offer you adaptive storage. Well, this phone does. So that's another advantage this phone has over those phones. Now coming to the display, this phone has a 5.5-inch display with the new 18:9 aspect ratio with smaller bezels. Well, they are quite big anyway, but smaller bezels than your regular phones. It has on-screen buttons, and on the whole, display is pretty good. Sunlight legibility, viewing angles, and color reproduction are all great. So on the whole, in the display department, I just wish the bezels on this phone were slightly smaller. Except for that, I really don't have any complaints. Now coming to the cameras, this phone is a 13-megapixel rear camera with f2.0 aperture and an 8-megapixel front-facing camera with f2.0 aperture. And the cameras are really the highlights of this phone. Now the front-facing camera on this phone is pretty good. Well, it does more like an okay job. You also get portrait mode, it has a wide-angle lens, so you get on the whole pretty great selfies. But the rear camera on this phone is really good. Like the entire camera interface is pretty smooth, it also has auto HDR, capturing speeds and focusing speeds are really good, and the results that you get from this phone, especially using the rear cameras, are really good as well. Color reproduction, exposure control and dynamic range all look pretty good. It's really hard to see such a great camera performance at this particular price. Now this is a sample footage recorded using the rear camera handheld, and you can see that the footage is quite stable, and I was really shocked to see this footage as well. So on the whole, cameras on this phone are really good and probably the best in the price segment. Now coming to performance, this phone sports an entry-level processor called MediaTek MT6739, and I tried to run the Antutu benchmarks twice actually, but for some reason it always stuck at 0%. Anyway, I couldn't show you the benchmark scores, but the overall performance is pretty good. Now in terms of performance, there really isn't anything to brag about. But because of the software optimization, phone feels very responsive. Now there might be other phones way up to 10,000 rupees which may offer you better performance, better processor, but this phone definitely feels more responsive, or at least as responsive as those phones. So in terms of raw performance, this phone is definitely lacking, but when it comes to actual usage, everything is pretty responsive and fast. At least I didn't have any issues with the day-to-day usage. Now coming to the software section, this phone is running a custom skinned version of Android called HiOS based on Android 8.1 Oreo and currently has the June security patch. Now overall, in terms of OS optimization or memory management, it is really good. I didn't have any issues with that. And as this is a custom skin, you also get some additional features like 3-finger screenshot, motion gestures like flip to mute, and some additional software features. Now out of all those features, I really like a feature called freezer, where we can simply put applications into that and that will stop those applications from running in the background or draining battery. So that's something really amazing and it actually works. So on the whole, even in the software department, this phone is rock solid. Now coming to updates, usually Techno releases monthly security updates as well. My brother actually uses the Techno Camon iClick and it even got the August security patch. But for some reason this phone is still stuck at June. Maybe they'll provide updates maybe quarterly for this. Anyway, updates are, I don't have any official answer for that, but Techno does provide regular software updates and this phone should probably getting it in few months. If there is any new update, I'll update it in my Twitter feed, just follow it over there. Now coming to the audio department, this phone has a speaker on the back unlike most of the phones these days, and I thought audio experience or the speaker loudness might be a bit low, but surprisingly even that was pretty good. It's not super loud, but it's usable and it is definitely sufficient for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. At least I didn't have any problem. And coming to the audio experience over the headset, there isn't anything fancy going on, like there is no DAC or amplifier. So audio experience is average like any other phone out there. Now coming to the battery life, this phone sports a 3000 mAh battery and comes with a smaller 6 watts power adapter inside the box. By the way, it also comes with a micro USB charging port, which is pretty much expected in the price segment. Now coming to the battery life, on average, I just used this phone for about 2 days and I got around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time. That's on very normal usage. Now if you're a heavy user, it might die on you by evening or like you might have 10 to 15%. As I've said, I used it very scarcely, like very basic stuff like WhatsApp, Instagram and basic calls. For that, by the end of the day, I had like 10 to 15% of battery left. So for a very normal user, battery life is actually pretty good. But if you're a heavy user, it will die on you pretty quickly. Now coming to the charging speeds, it took me like 3 to 4 hours to charge the phone completely with the stock charger. If you use a 10 watts power adapter, you can get it charged in about 2 hours, which is what I did. So guys, to conclude, this phone is priced around 6,800 rupees and at that price in the retail market, there simply isn't any other phone which offers all the software features, performance and especially cameras. Now besides that, you also get 3 additional things with this phone. That's 1 month of extended warranty, 1-time free screen replacement and the third one, 100-day replacement. So besides getting a pretty good phone, you also get all these benefits. So if you're looking to buy a phone in the retail market, at a price tag of 7,000 rupees, I can definitely suggest you this phone. So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you like this video. If you do, hit that like button. And if you want to know more about this phone, link will be in the description. Check it out. And if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag #GreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.